Hey, Orrin Ross, estate planning attorney, and this week I'm working with a couple clients who came in to set up a living trust. Now, most of my clients are generally older, and a lot of people assume that estate planning is mostly for older people. But these clients are in their 40s, and they came in to set up a living trust with us because they have two teenage daughters, and they want to make sure that if something were to happen to them, that their daughters would be taken care of. Now, they're not really wealthy, but this is a really good way to go for them because when you have minor children, you have to name a guardian, all right? So we do that in a will. We can name a guardian for them so that if something happens to the parents, we can have this guardian appointed to manage their care. But we're also setting up inheritance trusts, one for each child. With these inheritance trusts, what we can do is leave money from that main living trust to these inheritance trusts. Those inheritance trusts follow the children through their life. Because in Georgia, if you have just money going through a will, then that has to end before they turn 21. But most 21-year-olds aren't really that great with money. So what we do with these trusts is we generally say that at 25, that child can access money for what they want. But it doesn't have to be 25. It can be 30, 35, 40, or you can set amounts throughout time. So we can basically do whatever you want inside a trust. But with a will, we have a lot of limitations. So with this trust, before they turn 25 or whatever age it is that their parents decide they might be responsible enough to handle money, they still have a right to this money for education, medical expenses, and food and shelter. So it's basically a college fund until they get to the age that their parents set in this trust. So they can still use the money. It's not completely off limits. And if the trustee decides that they need something else over and above the health, education, maintenance, and support, then the trustee can use some of that money for whatever's needed. So if the trustee decides they might need a car, the trustee can buy them a car, or they can do whatever they want. And because we have separate trusts, if one of those daughters turns out to be a little bit more responsible than the other one, then we can have different rules. We can have different abilities in there. So maybe you want one who can't really touch any money until she's 35 or 40, but then we have the other one down here at 25 or 30. So you can basically customize it any way that you want when we set up these inheritance trusts. And we do the separate trusts so that you can do that. Because if you just had everything in one trust for everyone, all those rules apply to those same people, and it's not really ideal if you have children who are vastly different. So we're setting up that trust for them. They're going to make sure that if something happens to them, their daughters are taken care of, and there's no possibility that their daughters inherit a bunch of money at 21 and go crazy and blow it all on a huge party.